All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into something everyone's probably at least a little curious about, attraction.
Hmm. Yeah.
And we've got this article. The title is, well, it's pretty straightforward, 20 obvious signs a woman is attracted to you.
Okay.
But, rather than taking this as like the ultimate guide to, decoding someone's feelings, we thought it'd be more interesting to use this as a kind of springboard into this whole world of nonverbal cues.
Yeah, absolutely. Because whether you are trying to nail a job interview or connect with friends or, yeah, even figure out the dating scene, these unspoken signals are just always there, right? They're shaping how we interact.
Totally. So this article throws out a bunch of these signs, and, well, some are kind of obvious, but others not so much.
Yeah.
Like, okay, flared nostrils.
Oh,
Who knew that was like a sign of attraction, right?
well, think about it. It's like when we're attracted to someone, our body's kind of freaking out a little,
Yeah.
Pupils dilate, heart rate goes up, even our breathing changes. And yeah, sometimes those nostrils flare a bit. We're taking in more oxygen.
Right.
It's really primal, It's like this physiological lie detector test. You can't really control it.
Oh, that's so interesting. So it's like, even if you're trying to play it cool,
Right, exactly.
your body's kind of betraying you.
Yeah, and it's not always these big, obvious signs either. Like, even small things, a little increase in blinking
Yeah.
can tell you a lot about what's happening under the surface.
It makes you wonder how much we miss just, walking around every day.
All the time.
If, what is it, like 90% of communication is nonverbal, we're swimming in all these unspoken signals.
Yeah, precisely. And learning to tune into those signals, not just, when you're dating or whatever,
Right.
but like across the board can be really powerful.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to like sense when someone's truly engaged in what you're saying or if they're just kind of nodding along.
Yeah, it'd be like, I don't know, mind reading, a superpower or something.
Well, maybe not mind reading, but definitely picking up on moods and intentions.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's more like learning a new language.
Okay.
One that speaks volumes even when no words are being said.
I like that. Yeah, like a secret code.
Yeah, exactly. And that language, it can be useful everywhere. Think about it.
Hmm.
You're giving a presentation.
Okay.
You can read the audience. Are they leaning in, making eye contact? Or are they fidgeting, looking away? And then you can adjust how you're doing things based on that.
That's such a good point. We've all been in those meetings or presentations where you could just feel the energy shift, even if no one's actually saying anything.
Exactly. And that's the power of nonverbal communication,
Yeah.
right? It's this constant stream of information, and it's often more honest than the words themselves.
Wow, yeah, I'm already rethinking all my
That's
interactions.
fascinating.
Okay, so let's dive into some of the specific signs that this article mentions.
Okay.
This one I thought was interesting, the head tilt. Apparently, it's a pretty common sign of attraction, particularly for women.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's the evolutionary logic behind that?
Well, think about it. Like in the animal world,
Okay.
exposing your neck.
Right.
It's a sign of vulnerability, right? Like showing your jugular to someone.
Oh, wow.
So in the context of attraction, it can be interpreted as a signal of trust, openness. Like, hey, I'm comfortable letting my guard down around you.
So it's like the human equivalent of a dog rolling over for a belly rub, exposing their soft spot.
Haha. Yeah, in a way, it's like a subtle, often subconscious way of inviting connection.
Right.
Of course, like with any nonverbal cue, context is everything.
Yeah.
Someone tilting their head watching a scary movie, they're probably just nervous, right?
Right. Good point. We don't want to misunderstand every head tilt as a love confession.
Exactly.
But it is fascinating how these seemingly small gestures can have such deep-rooted meanings,
Yeah, it really shows how much our evolutionary history still shapes how we act, even in the most modern settings.
That's so cool. So the article also mentions this one, playing with one's hair.
Oh, yeah.
As a sign of attraction, is that a conscious thing, like trying to look attractive, or is it more subconscious?
It's probably a little of both, to be honest.
Okay.
On a conscious level, sure, playing with your hair, it draws attention to it, right?
Yeah.
It makes you look good.
Right.
But there's also this strong subconscious element to it.
Okay.
Like when we're attracted to someone, our bodies are going crazy with adrenaline, hormones, and,
Oh, yeah.
and sometimes that comes out in these fidgety behaviors.
It's like twirling your hair, tucking it behind your ear. It's like a way to manage those crazy emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's so interesting how these behaviors, they might seem random or even silly, right?
Yeah.
But they're actually serving this deeper purpose
Mm.
They're regulating our emotional state, you know?
It's like, yeah, your body's trying to find a way to deal with all that nervous energy.
Yes. Exactly, yeah.
Okay, all right, let's move on to another big one, smiles.
Okay.
The article talks about, there's a polite smile and then there's a genuine smile.
Right.
So how do we know if we're getting the real deal?
Well, a real smile, scientists call it a Duchenne smile.
Okay.
It goes beyond just the lips. You
Yeah.
get those muscles around the eyes involved.
Oh, right, the crinkles.
Exactly, the crinkles.
Yeah.
That's genuine joy.
Yeah.
You can't really fake that. And it often causes a little blush, too, because blood flow increases to the face.
So it's like you're looking for that sparkle in the eye.
Yes. Yeah.
That extra something that comes with a truly authentic smile.
Yeah, and it makes you think, how often are we just giving those, like, polite smiles, the ones that don't quite reach our eyes?
Oh, all the time, probably, right? Just to, like, smooth things over,
We do it all the time. It's fascinating to think about.
Yeah, it makes you appreciate those people who just radiate that genuine warmth.
Totally.
You can just tell it's coming from somewhere real.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, could being more aware of our own smiles, trying to express real joy, could that affect the people around us too?
Oh, that's a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking about romantic attraction,
Right.
but I'm curious, how many of these signs also apply in, like, platonic settings?
Yeah.
Like, is a head tilt from a friend just a friendly head tilt? Or could it be, something more?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because a lot of these cues, the head tilts, open body language, even mirroring, they're all about building rapport and connection,
Yeah.
no matter what kind of relationship it is.
So whether you're trying to, decode someone's romantic interest or not, paying attention to these signals can give you a better understanding of how engaged someone is.
Exactly. Think about like a job interview.
Okay.
If you notice the interviewer, they're mirroring your posture or leaning in when you're talking.
Yeah.
That's probably a good sign they're actually interested.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Or even with family, right? Are you really connecting with them, or are they just giving you those polite smiles? Maybe a little head tilt from your teenager means they're actually listening for once.
Uh-huh. Maybe. But you're right, it's those little cues that really show what's going on, even in our closest relationships.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, my mind is blown. I'm seeing these signs everywhere now.
Right.
It's like we all speak this hidden language, but we don't even realize it.
You got it. And the more we tune into that language, the richer our interactions can be.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is.
Okay, one sign the article mentions, this one really fascinates me, mirroring.
Oh, yeah, mirroring.
Can you talk a bit more about that? Like, what is it and why do we do it?
Sure. Mirroring is basically when we subconsciously copy someone's posture, gestures, even their way of speaking. When we like them or feel connected to them,
Right.
it's a subtle way of saying, hey, we're on the same wavelength.
So, like, if I'm talking to someone and they cross their arms and then, a few minutes later, I find myself doing the same thing, that could be mirroring.
It totally could be. And we often do it without even realizing it.
Wow.
And you know what? Neuroscience says that mirroring actually activates the empathy centers in our brains.
So it's not just mimicking, it's actually creating a connection.
Exactly. It's like our brains are saying, I see you, I understand you, I feel you.
Wow.
And that shared experience, that feeling of being in sync, it can build trust, rapport.
It makes you wonder if those people who are just like naturally good at connecting with others, are they just really good at mirroring?
That's a good question. It's probably part of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's more than just that. It's about being present, being genuinely interested in the other person.
Right.
Making them feel seen and heard.
So it's not about using these techniques to manipulate people.
No, not at all.
It's about creating real connections.
Exactly. It's about coming into interactions with curiosity and genuine interest, not trying to, like, decode people.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, but before we go too far down the rabbit hole here,
Right.
I think it's important to remember context is key, right?
Absolutely.
Like, not every crossed arm means someone's defensive,
Right.
and not every head tilt means they're in love.
You're totally right.
This article even lists fidgeting as a possible sign of attraction.
Yeah.
But we all know fidgeting can mean you're bored or anxious or just restless.
All kinds of things.
I'm a champion fidgeter, so I can confirm that.
Haha, yeah. The key is to look for clusters of behavior, not just one thing in isolation.
Right.
Is the fidgeting happening along with other signs, like more eye contact, a real smile, leaning in?
Okay.
And what's the situation,
Right. Someone fidgeting during a job interview is probably different than someone fidgeting on a first date.
Totally different.
Okay, this brings up another thought. If we can learn to see these nonverbal cues in others, can we also be more aware of the signals we're sending?
Interesting.
Can we learn to, speak this hidden language more fluently ourselves?
Ooh, that's a good question. Does awareness change how we interact?
Yeah.
If we're more conscious of our own body language, do we start sending these signals more on purpose?
It's like that saying, when a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower.
I like that.
If we want better connections, maybe we need to start by working on our own nonverbal garden.
I love that analogy. It makes you wonder, are we just watching these signals, or are we actually shaping them? Are we influencing the very language we're trying to decipher?
It's like we're all on this dance floor of human interaction.
Yeah.
And we're becoming more aware of our own steps and how they affect our partner.
And I think that's where the real magic is. Because it's not just about decoding other people, it's about understanding ourselves, how we move, how we express, how we connect.
Yeah, on a deeper level.
Exactly, a deeper level. Yeah, on a much deeper level.
So much to think about.
Right.
Feels like we've just scratched the surface of this whole nonverbal world.
We have, but hopefully this has, gotten our listeners out there thinking about it in a new way.
Yeah, giving them a new lens to look at their interactions.
Exactly.
And maybe even a few tools to become more, mindful communicators.
Right.
Because if we could be more aware of what we're putting out there,
Yeah.
maybe we can be more intentional, more authentic.
Absolutely. Think about it. A genuine smile, a well-timed head tilt, even just good eye contact.
Yeah.
These little things can make a huge difference in how we connect.
It's like we're composing a symphony with our bodies. Yeah.
Whoa!
Each movement adds another layer of meaning to the music.
It makes you wonder if we're more aware of our own non-verbal music.
Right.
Can we create more harmonious relationships?
I love that. Well, I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to my own body language music from now on.
Me too.
Maybe even practice a few new moves.
There you go.
Okay, but ultimately,
Yeah.
it's not about trying to manipulate people or control them.
No.
It's about deepening our understanding of ourselves and this whole intricate dance of human connection.
Beautifully said.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
It is, but the exploration doesn't have to end here,
Right.
I really encourage our listeners to keep observing, keep questioning,
Yeah.
keep discovering this amazing world of nonverbal communication.
It's a journey that never really ends, right? There's always something new to learn, some new nuance to uncover.
Always.
And who knows, maybe we'll even learn a few things about ourselves along the way.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
Exactly. A much deeper level.
It kind of makes you realize, maybe we shouldn't overthink every little thing.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes a head tilt is just a head tilt.
Exactly. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
Huh. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
even so, being more aware of these things,
Yeah.
it can definitely add a whole new layer of depth to our interactions.
No, for sure. It's like, you start to see those subtle cues.
Right,
And you
right.
can kind of get a sense of where someone's really coming from.
Yeah, it's almost like having this secret decoder ring for human behavior.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's not about using this knowledge to manipulate anyone or anything like that.
No, I don't.
It's more about, I don't know, fostering genuine connection.
Yeah, exactly. Building real understanding.
Okay, so before we wrap things up here, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Well, this whole world of nonverbal communication, it's vast.
Yeah.
And we've just dipped our toes in the water here.
Right.
So I would say the best thing you can do is just keep observing, keep paying attention.
Yeah.
See what you notice in your own interactions.
And maybe even, experiment a little bit. See how changing your own body language
Right.
affects how people respond to you.
Absolutely. It's all about, that constant learning and exploration.
Yeah, and who knows? You might even surprise yourself with what you discover.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so fascinating.
Well said. Well, on that note, I think it's time to bring this deep dive to a close.
Yeah, I think so.
But as always, the conversation doesn't have to end here.
No, not all.
Keep those observations going. Keep those questions coming.
Right. Keep exploring.
And until next time, happy decoding, everyone.